Part 2. Silver Snow. Guardian Moon. A king without a kingdom. Having parted ways with Edelgard, former students of the Black Eagle House now work alongside the Knights of Seiros at Garreg Mach. They begin to create a resistance army strong enough to take on her Imperial forces.
Oh, thank the goddess. I couldn't bear the thought of letting Gerald down by not finding you.
Guess you lucked out. We've been looking everywhere for you, but I see Lady Rhea isn't with you. Damn.
Everyone was real worried about you, Professor.
Seteth told us everything. From here on out, you will have our aid.
I am so grateful that everyone is safe. I am sorry things are moving so rapidly, but there is something we must discuss. Come with me. The time has come to make our true stand against the Empire. Our base will be Garreg Mach Monastery. The interior is in less than prime condition, but we should be able to utilize it much the same as we had before.
Surely those Imperial jerks have this place staked out, right? It's a highly strategic location.
It may be an area of importance, but it is far removed from the front lines. Considering the burden of transport, it is possible they are not paying too much attention to it.
Nothing escapes the Emperor. There must at least be a spy or two.
Professor, what do you think? I see. Then it must be the right idea.
The town and surrounding hamlets are still present. And though far from abundant, the Church still has funds at its disposal.
That's true. Professor, I think we can leave expanding our army to my brother. He was always good at negotiating, and I believe he is best suited to the task.
In that case, I have a request. Please allow my soldiers to join your ranks as well. House Sire already tried taking on the Emperor. As a result, our territory was stolen from us. As a consequence, I do not have many soldiers left to speak of, but those I have are yours to command.
I feel like I should tell you that I've been protecting some kids who lost their parents in the war. They're in the town right now, but maybe we can move them to the monastery? I'm sure they'd be happy to chip in however they can.
Yes, I understand. I will make the necessary arrangements.
I nabbed some valuables from my house. Father is with the Emperor now, so... It's not much, but it's yours.
I don't have a thing to contribute. In fact, I'm still in my same old clothes.
I've been wandering on my own for 5 years. I won't go back to that house or my father, that's for sure.
I understand. Leave it to me. No labor is too great if it means saving Fodlan.
Thank you for inviting me. What a nice aroma. I really enjoy this tea. Thank you. How relaxing. Yes. Wow. Yes. Wow. Yes, I agree. When did you start sword training? I was 5 when I began. Yes, I agree. Professor! What? Is there something on my face? It's a bit hot. Yes, I agree. Strength and stamina are necessary for fighting on horseback, as is footwork. Wow. Professor. What? Is there something on my face? Quite delicious. Thank you for the treat. I had such a great time.
Linhardt, I need to be asking for your wisdom. Will you consent?
My wisdom? About?
I was hunting earlier, and the land gifted me with lots of game. It was all brought by me to the kitchen, and then...
You're not asking me for help with the butchery, are you? If so, stop right there. I despise the sight of blood.
No, I am not asking that. All of that work and care is given right after the hunting. Giving gratitude, bleeding, skinning, all has been done to be making very nice fresh meat. That meat is sitting in the kitchen already.
Oh, thank goodness. Then whatever do you need from me? I'm not much of a cook.
I want to be smoking the meat, so we can be preserving it. There is a big quantity of it. But I am without enough firewood for the smoking. I am needing more than I was thinking I would. The darkness has fallen outside, so it will be difficult to be collecting it right now.
Why not gather wood in the morning? Get some sleep now.
This meat will not be waiting that long. It will be going to waste. Please, do you have any suggestion for what I can do? You have much wisdom for giving, so I am hoping you will be helping me.
Okay, let me see. Easy to forage wood at this time of night. You know, there were a good number of desks and chairs in the ruined corner of the monastery. Some of the stuff there is salvageable, so none of it has been thrown away. There's definitely high-quality oak and beech out there. Both would be excellent for smoking meat.
Is that factual? I was not knowing that. The wisdom you give is exceptional.
Well, I wouldn't say that. As long as it's anything that looks broken beyond repair, no one should complain.
I am giving you my gratitude, Linhardt. Now, let's be going.
Pardon?
You have all of the wisdom about choosing wood for smoking. I am wanting your assistance.
But it's bedtime. Okay, fine. I can point out the choice smoking wood. Then I'll have to help haul it all back, won't I?
It would give me great happiness. There's no one better than you for this task.
Please stop with the praising. All right, fine, I'll help. I'm just that nice a guy.
Caspar, how have you been?
Oh, Shamir. I've been normal. Yep, totally normal.
What's wrong?
Nothing's wrong. Everything's normal.
Then you should try to act like it. If something is bothering you, say it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm disappointed, Caspar. I thought you were the type to always speak your mind.
All right, fine. You got me. Truth is that I heard something about you. I heard you fought in the battle between the Empire and Dagda.
Yes. And?
And I heard that you maybe lost someone important in that battle.
Perhaps. What's your point?
No point. Not trying to make a point. I just didn't know you were involved in all that. I was hoping we could be friends, but you fought against the Empire. You obviously have every reason to hate them, so I'm sure you don't want me around.
What does my past have to do with you?
My father was responsible for a lot of what happened to the Dagdans.
Are you responsible for your father's actions?
Well, no, but kinda. I know I wasn't there, but I gotta...
Bring them back.
Huh?
If you're responsible, then bring back the lives that were lost. If you can't, then spare me your pity.
But...
Yesterday's enemy is today's ally. You have to abandon old feuds. Only then can you face me as a friend.
Shamir, can I be having your time? There is a thought that is giving me great concern.
Let's hear it, Petra.
If Dagda is ever invading Fodlan again, what will you be doing?
I'd join the army of Dagda. I'd lay waste to Fodlan and return to my homeland.
If that is the truth, then I am having one more question for you. If that was happening, and all of us were fighting for Fodlan, would you be fighting us too?
Of course. You expect me to die for you? You should be prepared to do the same. Your homeland would likely join Dagda.
So, that is your truth?
Maybe. If you'd asked me 5 years ago. I've been a mercenary since childhood. Always fighting for a bounty. If my allies didn't pay, I'd side with the enemy. It's why I became a sniper. Easier to dispose of anyone with a reward on their head. It's also why I joined the Knights of Seiros. I owed them a debt, but that's all changed.
You are not fighting for money now?
That's right. When I see everyone fighting for Fodlan, I feel inclined to help. I won't die for the cause, but I will protect everyone. If the army of Dagda engaged you, I'd fight at your side.
Hearing that is it gives me great joy. Until the war is finished, let us fight together.
Mission accomplished. Let's pack up and get out of here.
Yes. Let's.
What's wrong? You don't seem like your usual self.
Oh, I'm still the same old Alois. Come on, let's head back before nightfall.
Don't try to hide it. You're making it obvious.
Shamir, can I ask you a stupid question?
That depends on how stupid it is.
You're a skilled sniper. You've completed countless missions. And in the process, you've taken countless lives.
Correct. And your point?
After a mission, do you ever think about the people you killed?
Never.
I see. Well, I guess that's the best way, huh? There's no point dwelling on it.
After all the lives you've taken, why worry about it now?
I've got everything packed up. I'm going to head back now. You should head home as well, before it gets too dark.
What a tiresome man.
That hurts. Ah, Professor. Thanks for stopping by. It's not bad. I was even told I'd be cleared for service starting tomorrow. Besides, I got this scar fighting for you. It's almost like a medal or something. I certainly meant it when I said it, but when I thought you were going to be killed for real, my reflexes kicked in. I reacted without thinking. It doesn't mean I've stopped being jealous of you. But come on, I can't help but look up to you.
If I'd had the guts to run away from home, I wonder if I would have cared as little about my crest as you do yours. No. But if I thought I could have escaped, I would have tried. I'd leave behind House Gautier and the life of a nobleman and anybody who knew I had a crest. Our home is to the very north of the kingdom. Just across the mountains from us is land inhabited by foreigners to Fodlan. It once belonged to Faerghus, but now that the kingdom has collapsed, it's only a matter of time until fighting breaks out. Anyway, that land has been contested for centuries, and all that time, it has fallen to House Gautier to protect it. Actually, our Lance of Ruin has been doing most of the protecting. Those were dangerous times. One wrong step, and we would have lost our relic to the church. My father was afraid that the church would try to keep the lance, so he entrusted it to me. If an emergency arose, I was supposed to be called back home. I guess those very situations are why my family values crests so much. Since I bear a crest, my parents made sure I was never left wanting. My older brother didn't have one, and so when I was born, he was pushed aside. You know, he once shoved me in a well. He left me on the mountainside in the middle of winter, too. Even as a little kid, I understood why he was like that. My mere existence stole everything from him. I have no right to complain when I am surrounded by people who would give anything to bear a crest, but do not. Now, women smile at me for the same reason my parents adore me, and my brother wanted me dead. And I have to meet them all with a smile and a wink, because I have a crest. The women who just want to use me to become nobility? Hatred's probably the right word. Though, in the end, that's just an easy answer. I don't even know how I truly feel about it all. Anyway, it was pretty unreasonable of me to resent you. I'm really sorry about that. And I want to say thank you, Professor. Seriously, thank you. Before I met you, I'd gone my whole life not knowing there was another way for me to live. So, from the bottom of my heart, I'm glad we met.
A country with no king has no future. That's why I made my way here. Professor, don't let me down. Yes, let's. Find me a worthy opponent to battle, and I'll be content.
Professor, it's not just for my village that I'm fighting alongside you here, you know. It's also that Captain Gerald asked me, his first and greatest apprentice, to look out for you. Of course, it wouldn't be enough just to keep you alive. It's my duty to make sure you win, too. So do your best, Professor, and count on me to watch your back.
Not for myself, for everyone. With all of my might! Each battle a victory. My heart burns with pride. Not for myself, for everyone. Not for myself, for everyone.
Do you have a moment, Professor? I need to speak with you. Thank you so much. This is what I wanted to address. This letter from my adoptive father just arrived. Oh, have I not mentioned him? He's the reason I first came to the Officers' Academy. He's also the one who dragged me from the church where I was living, just so he could use my crest. My crest does not yet belong to a house, so he plans to use it as leverage to marry into the nobility. He's a very greedy man who was a roving merchant before adopting me, but now he's in the capital. This letter says that he's finally arranged to marry me off to a wealthy noble. I know he's just thinking of himself, but can't he see that this isn't a priority when we're at war? I suppose it's possible. He may be worried about carrying on his bloodline, but... I don't know what to do about this proposal. I can't see any way around it, so I fear that I must. I just don't want to let go of the life that I've made for myself. I know it's not what my heart wants, but I don't have the strength to say no. I believe I've mentioned this before, but I want to work in service of the church. Well, I suppose it doesn't necessarily have to be the church, but I want to help those in need. If I were to marry a noble, I think it would be difficult to realize that dream. It's just, I've always allowed myself to follow the whims of those above me. I convinced myself that everything in life was at the will of the goddess. I was blind to reality. I believed it was her will to both pull me from the church and guide me to the Officers' Academy. The decision to enter this war was the first time I acted of my own free will. My adoptive father opposed this decision, but I somehow managed to convince him. Still, I couldn't free myself of him completely. This letter is proof of that. It's not that I'm scared of him, but there is something that worries me. I knew you'd understand, Professor. I've sat down to write a reply several times, but I can't muster up the courage or the words. I was hoping you could provide me with the encouragement I need. If I don't, he'll go ahead with the arrangement. I suppose I must aim toward cutting him out of my life completely. Okay. I think that may have been just the push I was looking for. I'll tell him the truth. That I found a life worth pursuing, and I must decline the proposal. Maybe I should tell him I've fallen for someone else. Why, it's you, Professor. Isn't that obvious? I'm just teasing. Now I'm off to write this letter and stand my ground. Thank you for your encouragement.
Oh.
At last, I return to my domain. My lonely paradise. My realm of exquisite solitude. Huh? Professor? Is that you? You didn't hear that just now, did you? Right! You didn't? Well, good.
Hey, Professor. I know that we didn't plan to stop at the monastery, but I'm glad we did. I'm happy to be here with everyone again. Right? It's as though we went back in time 5 years. I feel like my old self again.
Hello.
Professor! Oh my, it's so good to see you. These days, so many old friends seem to be disappearing. But you're here. It's incredible to see you again after 5 years. I have a feeling your name will go down in history.
Hey! I'd given up on ever seeing you again. Where have you been hiding? Anyway, now that we're reunited in the land of the living, I must fulfill my promise. That's right. I promised the captain I'd protect you in his stead, and now I'll make good on my word.
Do you have time for a request?
Professor! Hey, Professor, something's been bothering me. Remember that suspicious guy I chased after back when I was a student? A knight scolded me for it, but at the time, I really thought I was doing the right thing. Now that I've had more experience on the battlefield, though...
I've been looking for you. There isn't much time, so I'll keep this brief. The knights encountered a band of brigands while out marching. It was hard fought, but we prevailed. Our soldiers are highly trained, but the enemy was formidable, and we weren't expecting combat. There were a number of casualties among our troops. There is something I wanted to bring to your attention. Do you recall the incident 5 years ago involving a suspicious individual in Garreg Mach? These brigands all bore the same scorpion tattoo that we found on the arm of that man.
Oh no.
I thought that might be of interest to you. Don't mention it. If you'll excuse me, I need to get back to my duties.
Heck of a coincidence, right? As soon as I mention that suspicious guy, this happens. But some of the knights died in combat. They died because of what I did 5 years ago. This is my fault. If I'd stayed quiet and tracked the guy down like you said, we would have stopped those brigands sooner, and I wouldn't have blood on my hands. But he probably wouldn't have. Now those knights, they're not coming back. We both know it. This is all my fault. Professor! Hey, Professor! You won't believe what happened. I figured I couldn't go back to the Empire after Garreg Mach fell, so I started drifting across the Kingdom in Alliance. Then, I just happened to run into our old class, so we came back to the Monastery together.
Fighting alongside you and everyone else is a dream come true, Professor. And don't worry about my little sis. Right now, she's back home helping out with the family business. I kind of figured I was going to be stuck going back and taking over for her. But thanks to you guys, I get to work on my dream of becoming a proper knight.
Hey, I could use a hand.
I need a favor.
Pardon me.
Greetings, Professor. Nothing to report. You know, it's such a thrill to be able to greet you like this again. I almost died as well in the battle 5 years ago, but I won't allow any enemies to get into this place again. I promise you that. Even if the Death Knight shows up, I'll be sure to... Well, for now I'll keep training, so I can eventually feel confident that I can stop him.
What do you require?
Do you want to hire the...
Nice to meet you.
Do you want to hire this? Do you want to
We've got you covered.
Do you want to
You can rely on us.
Do you want to...
Leave it all to us.
Do you want to...
Ready for your command.
Do you want to...
We'll do everything we can.
Do you want to...
We will see it done.
Do you want to...
Hey, it's the new boss.
Do you want to...
Great to meet you.
Do you want to...
Great to meet you.
Do you want to...
We've got you covered.
Do you want to...
Nice to meet you.
Do you want to...
You'll get your money's worth.
Do you want to...
Ready for orders.
Farewell.
Got a favor to ask.
Professor, I have a proposal. Why not go beyond the Knights of Seiros? Instead, uniting with allies from all across Fodland to fight for our cause. Looking back, it would have been best to ally with the Kingdom and join forces against the Empire. But now the Kingdom is not exactly, well... Professor. Apologies for bothering you so late. I just really wanted to speak with you. Thank you. You see, I've been feeling conflicted about my future. It may seem petty to worry about such things in the middle of a war like this. This isn't something I open up about with many people. Feeling such a sense of inner turmoil while a war rages on, and others are fighting with all they have, well, it feels a little selfish. The truth is, I've wanted to be a knight ever since I was a small child. Not just any knight, like one you might find serving within the castle guard, but a true knight, one serving a master. However, my father has always had different plans for me. He wants me to marry for the benefit of the Galatea family. Defying my father feels wrong. I've seen how he struggled over the years. His burden has always been far greater than any I've had to bear myself. While he fed me extravagant meals, he subsisted on meager portions and watered-down soups. He never once complained, even though he must have been starving. Knowing his sacrifices, I've never been able to tell him of my dream of becoming a knight. Although ultimately, I find myself betraying his wishes. Now that I've parted ways with my father, there is nothing to stop me from pursuing my dream. But even if I do become a knight, I feel an unease deep within me. I fear I will never escape this guilt I carry, that I have shunned my duty as a noble. To follow both my dream and my duty? I had never considered that as an option. Perhaps there is a way. Even with the academy days long behind us, you're still a professor through and through. Always listening to others' troubles and offering up your wisdom. I really am grateful for all that you do for us, Professor. I hope you'll always be here as a guide to everyone. I know I myself would appreciate that deeply.
Yes. Yes, I come from the Empire, but I have no intention of ever returning. This war the Emperor instigated has caused nothing but trouble and pain. I want this war to end. And that's why I'm here, fighting with you.
Professor, I left home without telling my father. Did you know that? I can just imagine my father's face contorted in anger, and the delightful words he must have used to describe me. Kind of a scary image, actually. But regardless, I've put my faith in you, Professor, and I'm hoping I haven't made a big mistake.
Yes. I'm more of a mercenary than a knight these days. I work to get paid. I never was too attached to Fodlan. I was considering leaving soon, but I might change my mind if you're around.
In Lady Rhea's absence, I will follow you. That's what she would want me to do. Know that wherever you might lead us, I'll continue searching for Lady Rhea. Good, because I will not budge on that point. Welcome back, Professor.
Yes.
Members of the Knights tell me that Father left their ranks 5 years ago. They say he announced he was returning to the kingdom, but nobody's heard from him since. I haven't received word that he went back home to Mother. Where could he be? Where are you, Father?
Professor, I am so glad you are unharmed. No matter the path you walk, I will be with you every step of the way. Anything you ask of me, I shall see it through. You saved my life, and I am in your debt.
Professor?
During his search for her grace, the Archbishop, Seteth has visited churches all across the land. It served to demonstrate to the devout across Fodlan that the Church of Seiros is still going strong. As a result, the faithful are not currently in a state of chaos.
Hello there.
Right.
Edelgard is controlling the Empire. She is putting the pressure on the Kingdom in alliance. Empire and religion are at open war. It will be difficult for us at first, but corrupt nobles are many. That means the common people will rebel and be joining our side. With you, Professor, the battle tides will turn. I have certainty.
Professor!
It's been fixed up quite a bit, but its battle scars aren't so easily erased. To think that a glorious cathedral with a 1,000-year history would end up like this. I'll rebuild this place someday. This cathedral is the symbol of Fodlan. Maybe I should paint a picture of the beautiful cathedral of old. Well, I still remember what it looked like.
Professor. Thanks for your help out there. Battles tend to go smoother with you around. I can count on you doing most of the heavy lifting. It may be unwise to think this way on the battlefield, but I feel I can trust your commands without question. Don't we all? But, judging by the results of our recent battles, you're clearly good at this. I've also noticed that you've been putting me in more precarious situations lately. Almost like you know I won't question your orders. No need. I'm glad you trust me to get the job done, but still, I knew you were doing it on purpose. You're in a very important position now that you're leading the charge against the Empire. Funny to think you used to just teach at the Officers' Academy. Your old students still call you Professor. That's no title for the commander of an army. Relax, I was just having fun. You sure are an interesting one. My people lost the war, and I was left to wander Fodlan alone, but I guess meeting you was my prize. You look confused. Did you not know any of this? I was living in my homeland of Dagda, up until the Imperial Army destroyed it 10 years ago. But being a mercenary, I have no real allegiance. That's why I'm working here now. Don't worry, though. I don't plan to turn on you.
The town I'd been living in came under attack by the Empire's army. My parents were both caught up in the fighting and killed. I've got no home to go back to anymore, so I guess I may as well stay here.
You're here, Professor, along with everyone from our old class. It's like we've gone back in time. When I think that I'll be around you again, all of my sorrows just drift away. I understand. Especially with Lady Rhea missing. It sounds like the Kingdom and Alliance have been in a sorry state too, but we can't let that get us down. Let's work together for the common good, like we did 5 years ago.
Even with the church in shambles, we can still pray. The goddess will surely hear our prayers. But still, I hope the church can return to its former beauty someday.
It seems that in the last 5 years, the monks here have left this place for the town below. However, once they learn of our return, perhaps they'll come back. I hope the monastery can return to normal someday.
Professor? The promise was made 5 years ago, but I must say I'm rather impressed by how many of us managed to make it. Personally, I only showed up because I hope to see you again, Professor. I've been with my family in the Empire until recently. I admit to feeling a little guilty betraying Her Majesty, but only a little. Now that we're all together again, I suppose the fighting will begin soon.
Professor, I've grown weary and impatient. These past 5 years, my hands have been bound. But now, I can finally take action with a clear goal. I'm grateful to you and to everyone. Nonsense. Your presence steeled everyone's resolve.
Oh yeah. I don't know anything about rebuilding, but I can sure do my best to clean up the mess. I'm gonna keep Lady Rhea's room spotless, so she can use it right away whenever she gets back. You gotta find her, Professor. You just gotta.
Really?
Teacher, I have lost my dominion. My nobility may seem like nothing more than a title, but I will never lose my noble heart. I will stop Edelgard, even if it costs me my life. I have turned my blade against her now. I cannot go back on that decision. Professor, do you think I chose the wrong path? You are right.
Well...
Professor? My Professor, you haven't changed a bit. At your age, I'd expect your whole demeanor to have changed greatly over 5 years. Though, I suppose I haven't changed either, right? Thank you for noticing, by the way. Ah, just the two of us, forever young.
Oh, let me have my fun.
Thankfully, it appears the records and equipment I need for my research have not been damaged. I am most curious, though. You say you were asleep for 5 whole years. Incredible. Perhaps this is another effect of your crest. I do look forward to investigating you in greater detail. Wonderful news. I am most excited to begin. We must find the time, of course.
With the return of its knights, Garreg Mach is finally coming back to life. The Church of Seiros will follow you from now on, but please do not abandon the search for Lady Rhea. Thank you. I know the battles ahead will be dire, but we will support you with all our strength. I have something to ask of you. With the return of its knight, the Church of Seiros...
Oh, good. Thanks.
Dear Goddess, I ask for guidance. Professor, you're always watching over me, aren't you? I've spent my entire life avoiding people. Speaking to others was so difficult for me, so I made a point to always be alone. Animals and the goddess were the only ones I could really open up to. Do you remember the time you asked what it was I prayed for? Yes, but that wasn't the case. Back then, I felt that my life served no purpose, and that I was nothing more than a burden. In truth, I was begging the goddess to take me to her. That was my daily prayer. But now I fear the idea of dying and being left alone. I have friends who accept me for who I am now, in spite of my crest. And I have you watching over me. I finally learned to accept the kindness and warmth of others. It's because of you, Professor. Because of you, I've decided to live. I'm sorry to have worried you, but I'm all right now. Even if I'm separated from you or any of my friends, the memories I've made here will give me the strength to continue on. Oh, I'm sure I'll have the strength to move forward if we're together.
Professor, please do not be concerned. I just did too much overworking and lost my strength. Yes, I have no problems. Accept my apology for giving you worry. I have sorrow. I am sorry to be fainting at a time like this. Even though I was not asking for your care and attention, you gave it willingly. I am thinking that is incorrect. Will you have a listen to me? There is something that I must be saying. I am thinking you already have knowledge of why I came to Fodlan. Not for studying, but as a hostage for the Empire. So that Bridget would not be rebelling anymore. It feels like a knife against my throat. That I am making my grandfather obey the Empire. If I were running away from the Empire, then Bridget would be defeated. I am not having any options. To be living, I must be fighting to win. For Bridget to be living, the Empire needs to be crushed. So I must be crushing the Empire. That is what my people are wanting from me. And what my grandfather, the King of Brigid, is wanting. My want? I am not knowing of that. The wants of my people are something I have power to achieve. Their wants are my own. How I really feel. I have understanding. Wait, no, I actually do not have understanding. Yet. What I am understanding is that there is something I am not understanding. When I know what my true want is, I give you my promise that I will be telling you first.
I can't believe how long it's been since I left home. Since I was dragged out of the house, I mean. 5 whole years. It's weird to think about. No. But if you'd asked me that 5 years ago, I'd have said the opposite. I have friends here, and I have you. The monastery's become a second home to me. Back then, I never would have dreamed a day like this would come. It's all thanks to you. You've given me a second chance at life. If not for you, I never would have gotten used to leaving my room, let alone the monastery. Maybe the battlefield's just dulled my senses. I'm much better with strangers and new places now, though. I don't panic nearly as much as before. A new place? All on my own? That sounds like a tough assignment. Where did this come from all of a sudden? Hey, hold on. You're teasing me, aren't you? Please don't joke around like that anymore. It's torture for me. You're still not taking me seriously. I mean it. Promise me you won't do that again. Friends respect each other's feelings, don't they? Good. I'll hold you to that. You're absolutely not allowed to send me out anywhere on my own. Got it? You would need to come with me. If you're with me, I can go anywhere in the world. No, that defeats the purpose. Why can't you get what I'm saying? I thought we were finally getting close. Guess I'm not good enough for that, though, am I? I'll let you have this one, but you better be ready for next time.
Ah, yes. Professor, what brings you out so late? Oh, that was likely my voice. I've been worrying about something. I asked you once to help me achieve my goal of being a person who can simply nap all day. Then I thought, if the world becomes a peaceful place, all my crest research might be for naught. Well, I don't see how crests have much use in times of peace. Certainly there are crests that make you stronger and could be used in engineering. And I suppose crests that increase magical abilities might help doctors heal injuries. Still, the possibilities seem limited. It's as if crests were designed to be used only in times of war. Their power meant to bring about death and destruction. I cannot prove what I say is true, but suppose for a moment that it is. The longer this war goes on, the more useful my crest research becomes. But if the war were to end today, we would go on living, perhaps not using the power of our crests at all. It is truly my dream to be a crest scholar, but I also dream of all the wonderful naps peace would bring. Saying it all out loud, it feels a rather stupid thing to worry over. Knowledge or peace, sleep or war. You know, you're right. In the end, maybe it's not that stupid after all. It certainly isn't to me. Although if I stop researching crests, I'll have one less excuse to spend time with you. Professor, don't make faces like that. People like you, who listen to my blathering and then nod and smile as though what I say matters, people like you are very precious to me.
Professor? This may seem a bit sudden, but I want to thank you, Professor. That is, for letting me live my life the way I want. I've noticed you've been giving me fewer of those soul-revealing gazes lately. I appreciate you making an effort to not trouble yourself over who I spend my time with. Well, of course. Did you think I wouldn't notice? It's kind of sweet in its own way. Professor, may I tell you a story about when I was younger? I was an orphan, living in the back alleys of Enbar, until one day I was overheard singing. That was when my new life began. I was suddenly a songstress in the Middle Franc Opera Company. Performers, nobility. I met so many people. But none of them ever really knew me. I was just some young, pretty girl who could sing. A spectacle to be admired. Even though everyone praised my looks and my voice, and they showered me with gifts, I knew one day I'd be old. My looks would fade, my voice would change. I wouldn't sound the same. And I started to wonder, when I did get old, what would I have left? I'd be old, alone, and back on the streets of the capital, right where I'd started. That's sweet of you, even if you are just flirting. I never had much to begin with in life, and I worry that one day I'll be that way again. That's why I keep searching for someone who will love me. Someone unaware of the songstress, who can love a girl that used to be scared and alone on the streets of the capital. I wonder if such a strange person can even exist.
Professor. Finally, I notched a win against you. True, it was a narrow victory. When we spar, I feel like I'm revisiting my past. It's like training with my brother. He always won, always, and died before I could win a single bout. From the first time I held a sword, all I wanted was to surpass him. And that's what drove me to become so strong. Perhaps it's absurd to say such a thing, but I've spent all these years training for a duel with a corpse. Yes, I suppose I did. I can never again spar with my brother, not unless he climbs out of his grave. Still, I continue my endless pursuit of strength. Maybe because I have a new opponent to measure myself against. You, obviously. I beat you this time, but when we next cross swords, who knows what might happen. It was a close match, not a crushing victory. I know that I can do better. I will surpass you in strength, and then I'll become stronger still. And then, when this war is over, I won't have as many chances to swing my sword. I can hardly imagine that. Anyway, thank you for helping me find an answer to the question you asked all those years ago.
Take that!
Oh, you know, there is always something. It never ends. Lately, I have been feeling uneasy.
impatient. Edelgard claims victory after victory. She never stops. 5 years ago, she ascended the throne and swept away the corrupt nobles, my father included. I always thought I would be the one to unseat him. But she did it instead, with all the ease and indifference of someone cracking an egg. She put my father under house arrest. She stripped House Eyre of its power. Rather than accepting a role as her puppet, I left. Now I fight to topple the Empire. The disparity between Edelgard and myself is obvious. She never stops moving forward, single-minded, never wavering. But where does that leave me? Here, flailing about, going nowhere, contributing nothing. But it is. That is the reality. Not once since our days at the Academy have I exceeded Edelgard's abilities. I saw her as a worthy opponent. She did not even see me as a contender. She did not even consider me at all. As the head of the noble House Eyre, I must be able to achieve results. But all my efforts have come to nothing. Results are everything. I have not shown results, so I will be stagnating here forever. I appreciate your kind words, but you are wrong. I know that I have a massive wall to climb, and I must climb it alone. Even so, may I ask a favor? Professor, please keep an eye on my progress. I would appreciate if you were always by my side, bearing witness to my accomplishments.
Hello, Professor. What brings you here? Fancy a bit of fishing? Are you looking for help with something? Ah, no. Your eyes tell a different story. You know, I can hardly go fishing without thinking of old Gerald. He and I would just sit here, casting our lines again and again. I'm no better at it now than I was then. Not a single nibble. No, just like your father. You know all the tricks of the fisherman's trade. I was hopeless at it, but he was a master. In the time it took me to catch one fish, he could fill his basket to the brim. You know, talking to you, I'm feeling very nostalgic. Why don't you join me? We can trade some stories about the old man. We spoke before about how Gerald never seemed to age, right? Once, when he was drunk, he let the secret slip. He said he'd had an infusion of crest-bearing blood, and it had greatly extended his life. Well, we'd both been drinking. I figured he was joking, so I just laughed it off. Then I asked him his age. He said he'd stopped counting after he hit 100. And he was telling the truth. In those 20 years he was away, he didn't age a bit. An incredible person, to be sure. And I probably don't know the half of it. Actually, I'd like to ask you something about Gerald, if you don't mind. When Gerald was away from the monastery, what was he like? In other words, he was exactly the same. When I was his squire, he was always hollering for a drink. He just wouldn't put a cork in it. But on the battlefield, he was unequaled. That's why people used to call him the Blade Breaker. I have to say, right now, fishing with you, it really takes me back. This feels just like the good old days, when Gerald was sitting alongside me.
Professor. Thank you for helping me with my training again today, Professor. I'm gonna keep at it for a while longer, so you go on ahead. I can't. Not when I'm right on the cusp of using my power to greater potential. Surely you yourself are tired. Just Don't worry about me, okay? I'm sorry, Professor. It was careless of me to continue, despite how fatigued I clearly was. I probably should have listened to you. Now I've made a mess of things. I can't help but feel the need to rush in all things constantly. You get that way when you realize you haven't got much time. 18 years ago, House Ordelia was involved in a civil conflict within the Empire. All we did was respond to a call for aid. We weren't involved politically. But once the rebellion was crushed, my family was held responsible for the aid we gave, and the Empire gained some sway over us as a result. At the time, the noble houses of the Alliance took a passive stance. No one lent aid to my family. As a result, some key officials within the family were killed, and people from the Empire were sent to replace them. Among those people were some mysterious mages. They were unsettling, in a word, skin pale as death. One after another, they captured and imprisoned the children of our household. They began performing terrible rituals on the children, though it's probably more accurate to call them experiments. With the Empire monitoring our every move, my parents could do nothing but watch in horror as all of this unfolded. One after another, the children died, until the only one left was me. You know, my hair wasn't always this color. During their experiments, they'd been doing things with my blood. One morning, I awoke like this. A shock of white hair, all trace of pigment gone. Upon seeing me, the mages were delighted. They realized that their experiments had finally succeeded. Sure enough, they ran a test and saw that two crests coexisted within me. Losing pigment from my hair wasn't the only loss. The mages informed me that my lifespan was now greatly shortened. 5 more years at most, perhaps less. Shortly thereafter, the mages lost interest in me, and we never saw them in the Ordelia household again. Since all that, our family has been in decline. It's challenging now even to govern our territory. After all my mother and father have suffered, I at least want them to have peace as they grow older. That is all I wish for, but I haven't much time to ensure it comes to pass. It's not like what's been done to me can be undone. Professor, the only way I can conceive of would be to remove my crest somehow. But I don't know if that's even remotely possible. Even if it were, I wouldn't be of much use to you and the others without my crests. You sound resolved. I'll allow your resolve to bolster my own. Thank you, Professor.
Professor, let me sing for you. Do you not like my voice? It would make a Pegasus dance with joy.
This is no good. Sing from your diaphragm. Lo! Get it? Lo!
This is nearly as delicious as Mother's cooking. I would happily eat this every day.
Yeah, you just get it, Professor. This is my favorite.
The flavor is nostalgic to me for some reason. I'd like some more.
Eating food always fires me up. Hoorah! Let's go fight somebody!
This is my most favorite dish of all. I love it almost as much as Crestology itself.
This is my favorite. I am rather happy you went out of your way to pick it, Professor.
I would be liking that greatly.
This is so good. Can I have seconds?
I'm getting the hang of this.
How are you, Catherine? You look well enough.
Oh, yes, I'm fine. Never better.
That is good. I cannot help but be concerned, given your tendency toward incautious behavior. While boldness can be a virtue, I do hope you will bear in mind that recklessness is not. A moment's negligence can lead to a mortal wound for even the most skilled fighter.
You worry too much. If they saw me in action, the wounds themselves would cower.
That is precisely the attitude that worries me, especially given your history. You have been gravely injured before, as you no doubt recall.
Me? Gravely injured? When did that happen?
You mean you have forgotten? It was during your days as a student at the Officers' Academy. There was an excursion, a monster hunt. You charged ahead and left your fellow students behind. You ended up alone and surrounded. You almost died. Do you truly not remember?
Are you sure? All I remember is cutting down monsters left and right.
That is true enough, but you nearly bled to death in the aftermath. The Archbishop was so concerned for your life that she tended your wounds personally.
Oh, that was when that happened. Finally! It all fits together. Lady Rhea looking after me. Now that I remember clearly. That was the first time she ever spoke to me. I was lying on the ground, caked in mud, and she gently picked me up, even stroked my hair. The emotions were so overpowering that they must have just cleared away my memory of the whole incident. So it was during the monster hunt. Thanks, Seteth. That's been bothering me for ages.
That is not quite why I brought it up.
Come to think of it, Lady Rhea hasn't healed me since then. We've got to find Lady Rhea, and then maybe someday she'll honor me like that again.
That was helpful. There is always more to learn.
So, I was right. Looks like I'm getting it. You're too kind. Now I'm feeling a bit shy. I'm always improving.
I appreciate your coaching. I appreciate your coaching.
I have understanding. You are giving me praise? I will get more soon. You have my thanks for your support. You have my thanks for your support. Your guidance was greatly useful.
That went way better than expected. I think I'm improving. Thanks for your help.
I got it right? Phew.
Thanks! That's reassuring.
Just as I've always expected. I still have much to learn. No matter how old one gets, it's always nice to hear, "Job well done." I believe your coaching is better than mine. I believe your coaching is better than mine.
Well, may I?
Oh, of course.
Professor!
I will not yield! Yeah!
It's been a while since I had such a close call. If not for you, Professor, I wouldn't have made it. I didn't expect to be ambushed on a simple scouting mission. Yes, my objective was to gauge the enemy's strength. I'd say I was successful. I have to ask, Professor, what brought you here? So you came to protect me. I'm beginning to understand why your allies love you. These are selfish times. One doesn't expect to encounter selflessness. You're kind. In that respect, I'd say you're much like Lady Rhea. Of course. It's thanks to her kindness that I'm here today. I was an outlaw in Faerghus. She took me in and let me live here. Didn't I tell you? I was born into House Karen in Faerghus. They used to call me Thunderstrike Cassandra. I was implicated in a plot to kill the king. It was a totally false accusation, of course. I had to flee the kingdom, and the Archbishop took me in. I used to be a student at the academy, so I knew I'd be safe here. Lady Rhea saved me once when I was a student, you know. We were tasked with battling monsters, but we were ambushed. I almost died. Lady Rhea took care of me. She didn't mind getting dirty. She took my muddied, bloodied body into her arms. Since then, Lady Rhea has been my inspiration. I will always serve her, protect her, love her. For some reason, when I think about Lady Rhea, your face comes to mind. You've become an important presence in my life. I wasn't expecting you to have a positive response. I'm not thrilled about it personally. I am still going to keep my eye on you. Not so I can report to Lady Rhea, though. Just because I want to.
Professor, a moment? I am sorry that I doubted your ability. I deeply regret ever holding such a view of you. It is obvious to me now that you are extraordinary. Do you doubt your own power, even now? I suppose that's only natural. You've lived your whole life knowing next to nothing about yourself. Not even Gerald could have possibly known all there is to know about you. But I wonder, are you satisfied with that? Are you content, not knowing who you are? Or do you yearn to know more? But you cannot go on not knowing, can you? So, only one more question matters. Are you ready? The truth. All of it. Learning it will doubtlessly have direct consequences on your life. I do not know what those will be. You may decide, once you learn it, that you wish you hadn't. But even if you have such regrets, you will never be able to return to ignorance. So, are you ready to know the truth? I see. That is what I wish to hear. Since the Archbishop put so much faith in you, I will continue to offer my aid. More than that, I will put my faith in you as well, and I will do all that is within my power to help you someday reach the truth. I am confident in our chances.
Okay, let's give it a try. Look, Professor! We did great!
I'm just not there yet.
I'll do my best with this.
Is this what success feels like?
I'm really getting the hang of it.
Perseverance is the key.
It seems my proficiency has improved.
I'll make good use of this power.
Looks like I'm getting it.
Feeling pretty good about this.
Yeah! I'll sing so loud that my voice is gonna reach the sky!
This is no good. Sing from your diaphragm. Lo! Get it? Lo!
Can't let this power go unused.
Here's your book of fables you let me, Seteth. It was so interesting to learn all about Saint Indech that I read it cover to cover in one sitting.
Impressive. I'm glad you enjoyed it. What's this sticking out between the pages? Is this an illustration?
No, nothing like that. I must have stuck it in there and forgotten. Just, give it back, please.
Are you certain this was accidental? It quite fits the descriptions in this chapter. Ah, I see. You included an illustration where you thought the visual would be helpful.
No, not at all. I was just fooling around. I have an overactive imagination, and I forgot to take it out before I gave you the book back.
It really is a lovely drawing, you know. Now that I've seen it, the book would feel incomplete without it. But who is this man next to Saint Indech? I can't help but notice he bears a resemblance to me.
Oh, that's Saint Keyhole. The book describes him as one of Saint Indech's closest friends. I got the feeling he was a very serious man, but also really kind. You know, like you. So that probably explains the, resemblance.
I have to say, I never would have expected to be a reference model for Saint Keyhole. What a curious ambivalence. No, what I meant to say is that I am both flattered and a little embarrassed to be portrayed in this way. Perhaps it is because, in my study of him, I feel like I've also become a friend to Saint Indek. Records show that Saint Indek and Saint Keyhole worked together to achieve great things. If possible, I would like it if the two of us could similarly combine our efforts.
What? How do we figure into this?
We each bear their respective crests, do we not? One might also say that just as I am this book's author, you are now its illustrator. So why don't you do some more illustrations? And color them as well. We'll add them to the book.
You really want me to? I don't know if I'm good enough for something like that.